Springboks, big result over Namibia. Not sure if it's as big as some people thought it would be. Some people were thinking possibly even three digits for this one, but 57-3 is how it finished. Namibia did get on the scoreboard, which is nice for them. It wasn't quite the multi-try performance they had against the Italians. But compared to how it was going earlier, the Namibians actually stepped up into this game and, gave a good account for themselves against their much more fancied opponent in the Springboks. So a whole bunch of try scorers for the Springboks. I'll go over the game very briefly, but I think for the most part we can say kind of the expected result, much more than a standard bonus point win that was needed for this one. The Springboks got the job done, and the Namibians didn't disgrace themselves. That's kind of it in a nutshell. So it started with South Africa almost getting a try within the first 3 minutes. Skulk Brits almost touched the ball down at the base of the post, but dropped it just before he touched it down. So it was a knock-on. But on 10 minutes, Mbonambi got the first try. It was on the back of a maul, and boy, was that maul just getting absolute pay the whole game. It was one area where they just seemed to be able to kind of score at will. So 7-0. Francois Lowe got a try again from the back of a maul. Made it 12-0. That was on 15 minutes. Namibia, their number 8, got yellow carded. Again, it was like a deliberate knockdown. They had already been warned about the number of penalties they conceded earlier. It was like penalties at scrum time, penalties for offside. So when this penalty came for the deliberate knockdown, it was always going to be yellow. And not long after Mbonambi got his second try, again, you guessed it, from a maul. So they made it. At that point, it was 19-0. 7 points during the yellow card. Interestingly, though, from the yellow card period, Namibia then actually kind of stepped up their game. That seemed to be like the first changing point, whatever you want to call it, for the Namibians. They stepped it up. They even managed to score their 3 points during the period where they had a yellow card. There was another yellow card later in the game, but it was kind of all done and dusted by then. But yeah, they scored that penalty, so it was 7-3 during the yellow card. Mapimpi got his first try on 27 minutes. The pass to call it flat would be nice. It seemed to touch forward, but hey, we'll give it 24 points to 3. And then, interestingly, on the half an hour mark, Elton Yankees, who I really do rate in terms of his ability to kick the ball for touch, which sounds like a silly thing. Like, of course, anybody can kick the ball for touch. But some guys chew off more meters than others, and Elton's always been really good at doing that. He chews off a lot of ground. He did it a touch too far on the half-hour mark, and it went dead from a penalty, which is, at a World Cup, I mean, I guess this is the game to do it in. But you wouldn't want to be doing that by habit anyway. So, yeah, the Springboks, I guess, at that point, game's kind of already in the bag. You got some tries. Maybe a few errors kind of creep into the game. 41 minutes, though, pretty much just after halftime, Huda is gone. Lakanya Arm gets a try, makes it 31 points to 3. And that is how it is at halftime. So run meters at halftime was 312 to 77. So very dominant for the Springboks. Possession was 62% for the Boks, 71% territory. And the Springboks were tackling at 93%. I'm surprised that Namibia were actually at 73. But given that a lot of that was coming through the maul, maybe that doesn't register on the tackle count. You know, you're unable to stop a maul doesn't mean you missed the tackle. It just means you couldn't stop the maul. So second half, Namibia get the first chance to score with a penalty. It hits the post, which is unfortunate. 47 minutes, gets a clean break. It goes to Galant. He scores a try. Some proper gas there. 38-3. Namibia put a try-saving tackle in on 50, I think it was 51 minutes. Their own clearance kick is pretty atrocious. And the Springboks ran it back, but they were unable to score through some good Namibian defense. So that's an example of them not folding, not just throwing in the towel. They were still trying to make their tackles and still trying to compete as best they could. So credit to them for that. But Mapimpi did get a try. His second one on 54 minutes. Again, a bit of gas. And that makes it 45-3. 58 minutes, Kolisi gets a try. and there's just too much space out wide for them. So he goes over, and there was good hands in the build-up. I think did Brits have a hand in that one? I'm pretty sure he had a hand in a couple of the tries. 50 points to 3. Brits gets a try of his own on 63 minutes or 64. Guess what? It's from a maul. 57-3, and that's how it finished. So they didn't score for kind of the last 15 minutes. There were a few patches in this game where the Springboks weren't able to convert. But again, part of that is down to Namibia just staying competitive as they could, not throwing in the towel, not just falling off tackles. They were still trying their best. And their tackle stats in the end are not terrible. Again, I think it was the set piece that was largely costly. The scrum was under so much pressure, so was the maul. So run meters 571 to 126. Possession 60% South Africa. Territory 71%. Sounds familiar from the first half. Tackling percentage South Africa were 86%. Namibia were at 74%, which is again not disgraceful. It's not great, but it's not 50%, which sometimes happens when teams get blown away by 80, 100 points. So you look at the two wingers for the Springboks, and a lot of people were excited about Nkosi's performance. How would he go? Didn't get as much ball down his wing as he would like for this one. He only had 4 runs in the whole game, whereas Mapimpi had 11. So a lot of the ball was going his direction. Although Nkosi from the 4 runs, he got 58 metres, which is a good return. Mapimpi had 126 from 11 runs, but he also had 3 clean breaks and 6 defenders beaten. So overall, it was still a pretty good shift from him in a game that he could kind of play without a fair bit of pressure. Katijenko for Namibia made 13 out of 13 tackles, which for any team is a good effort, especially against the Springboks. So kudos to him for that one. Brits had 2 try assists and a try, playing as a loose forward for the most part. Galant had 2 try assists and a try. So maybe some of these guys who perhaps aren't on the immediate radar for the Springboks in terms of their starting lineup have put up their hands a wee bit. It's hard to gauge when you're playing a team with a fair bit of golf between you in terms of experience and whatnot. But yeah, good performance from the Springboks. They're not going to raise any eyebrows with this performance. It was to be expected. Job done. I don't think there were any injuries, so that's kind of good news if that's true. Some guys who came into the side, like Galant, like Brits, Mapimpi, who needed a good game, did well. Out in Yankees, goal kicking was pretty mediocre, but overall he ran the ship pretty well. Again, it's hard to judge without all that pressure on. But yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts on the game. How did you think it went? And I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.